Buckle up. Big Sills draft special. We are going to give you wall-to-wall coverage this weekend and today. We're doing a special show today because I got a special thing going on with my daughter graduating. So we're doing a special 10 a.m. Eastern show here on JAKIB Sports, the only place that you can catch Big Sills. By the way, I want to thank everyone for blowing up my Twitter or /X last night. Most notably, AJ Owens and Devontae Smith, the man who says nothing, the man who barely has a personality. By the way, I got to say this to Devontae. Dude, there's really nothing you can do for me not to love you as a player or really as a person. And with AJ, I think he's easy. You know, he's fun. He is a fun dude to get under the skin of. And by the way, they fired both back last night. What'd that thing get right now? Like nearly 500,000 people responding and saying, hey, Devontae roasted you. Nobody roasted Sills. I told you that guy would cry. My number. I want a contract. He got his contract. Rightfully so. And the Eagles made him the highest paid wide receiver because they didn't want any shit during the offseason or going into training camp. You know how you motivate? There's two ways to motivate A.J. Owens. You know how that is? Money and targets. It's the only thing. Always remember that with A.J. Owens /A.J. Brown. Targets and money. That's the only way you motivate that guy. Notice I didn't say wins. So we appreciate the love from the best wide receiver tandem in Eagle history, throwing love out to Big Sills. All right, dude, Kevin, I'm with you, man. I think Justin Jefferson, if A.J. Brown got $32 million a year, wait until you get to Justin Jefferson's contract. Man, he may make $38 million. Missing Parsons is an asshole. You see the reaction to the Guyton pick? He's the worst. Then A.J. Owens. I'm tired of him. Me too, dude. That was so shitty. Every single thing that the Philadelphia Eagles do, this guy cries and moans and bitches about being a Cowboy. I would never pay that guy. I think that guy's a loser. He's got loser all over him. Missing Parsons sucks as a teammate. He's terrible. Man, how do you know Guyton's going to be a bad pick? Nobody knows what these picks are going to do for 3 years. Minimum. What a dick. He is such a dick, Micah Parsons. Can't take criticism, thinks he's better than he is. And now he wants $30 million. I mean, good grief almighty. The Eagles got Mitchell. You don't know who Mitchell is. By the way, I'm not going to talk shade on him. You can't talk shade on a guy who doesn't even have an Eagle helmet yet. Good morning from Smitty and Howie. Absolutely, baby. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. I'm with you, 304. Dude, Tyler Guyton, you don't know if that – I'll tell you this. Tyler Guyton comes from the same program as Lane Johnson. I don't know. Let's give that thing a chance before you start talking shit on him. How can you talk shit on a pick 24 hours, not even 24 hours, after the draft when these guys haven't even stepped on the field yet? You don't know what you're getting here. You have no idea what you're getting here. You get this guy. Biggest loser in the business, and yet your boys are all concerned what I say. Hey, dude, it wasn't me saying that shit. It was Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown and even Ocho Cinco. I mean, they care what I say. Thank you, Rochelle. I appreciate that. How you doing? Yeah, Big Sills, baby. How are you doing? Like a twist, the shit starter. We're going an hour today, so we got a lot to get to here. But I do want to thank Devontae Smith very much. All right. So let's see this here. Let's see the reaction. How many people like the pick for the Eagles last night with Quinyon Mitchell from Toledo? Let's start there. Let's start there. And for the record, let's take a look at the needs list. Eagles at 22. If you could see it, at 22, Philadelphia. First thing on my list is cornerback. Did they address the need? Yes. That's an A. Okay, that's an A. Rookie deal. You address the need. What else was good about the pick? You drafted the best evaluated player. And look, as I told you, I had Mitchell the 7th best player in the National Football League draft. So at 22, you got the 7th best player, in my opinion. That's another A. Now, we're sitting here on April 26th doing this. I think you should be excited about that. Okay? Everything he did, Howie Roseman and his group did the right thing. When I mentioned my suspicion about the contract structure, I had a feeling that they would sign AJ. Great pick last night. We didn't reach either. Hey, you didn't reach. Actually, he fell to you, which showed me that Howie was patient. I got to tell you, those quarterbacks, holy cow, the quarterbacks and the offensive linemen, in my opinion, along with some of the wide receivers, they dropped so many good football players. There's still a ton of players that are still available. We'll take a look at that at the back end of the hour on players that are still available. There's some really good guys that were evaluated that if you draft and you pick, you're going to get a quality player through this evaluation process. Now, again, the evaluation process versus processing the talent and seeing if it matriculates to the next level, obviously, that's got to play out once you get to training camp and when you get to these OTAs. Remember when missing persons was hype about Mozzie? Absolutely. I mean, Mozzie Smith, he was all over me because he went to Michigan. He was a run stopper. You know what? I don't think Darius Slay was dick last night. I don't think he was last night. Let me get back to this because I want to give you my evaluation. Having talked to some folks this morning about Quinyon Mitchell. How many people like the pick by the Eagles at 22 with Quinyon Mitchell? I like the fact they didn't have to give up any assets and they didn't have to move, and they kept their 22 or two second-round draft choices intact. How many like the pick? Crowley likes it. Yeah, I like it. 34, good morning, Sales. Congrats to your daughter and her accomplishments. Appreciate everything you do. Educate, entertain us. Much love, brother. 34, much love to you guys. I got to tell you something. Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown and Darius Slay and Jason Kelsey and all these people don't respond to this program if it's not for you. Just so you understand that. I know that. It's not just me. It's us. Okay? It's us. It's just, and I mean that with all my heart. It's not just me. Without a platform, I'd be standing in a forest talking to myself. So you guys are the trees. Okay? But you hear me, and they hear me. And it's because of you guys. So it means a lot. Believe me. Okay? You could take that to the bank. Hey, look at this. Ren says your name is buzzing in the city. Public enemy number 1. You're damn right, man. Yeah. I'm the bad guy. You know why? I tell the truth. I'm the bad guy. Oh, here come the bit. You know what you say to me? There's the bad guy. All right, let me get into Quinyon Mitchell, and here's my takeaway in my evaluation. on Quinyon Mitchell. 6 foot, 195, 4.33, 40-yard dash. Exceptional. 38 vertical, which means what? He's an athlete. That's exceptional. Exceptional. And when you watch him on tape, Mitchell, he possesses great flexibility, especially in his hips. He's got size and strength. And the way he moves in the secondary, you see why people immediately fall in love with him and the way that he can contort his body. They basically call him the cornerback Gumby. I mean, he can move all over the place, which means when he goes up at the point of the football, he's not going to lose his point of reference where he is. His equilibrium is great. He can turn. He's an athlete. And when you look at him, he's bigger than DeAndre Swift. I know when you say 195, so he's 600 pounds. That's a running back playing corner. When you look at him, he looks like a running back. Did 33 reps on his bench. He's a strong kid. For 195, 33 with his body weight is exceptional. This guy had 33 reps at 225. That's pretty strong guy, man. The guy is a physical guy, man. And like I said, the way he moves, he's built like a running back. So when you're looking at the physicality, you see why people are falling in love with him. Here's something else. Coaches have said this too. And Xander brought this to my attention about Nick Saban wanting him at Alabama. You know what the biggest thing that attracted Nick Saban to Quinyon Mitchell? He hits like a safety. He doesn't hit like a corner. Most corners, they kind of gather you or herd you and not real big hitters. He hits like Sidney Brown. I mean, you got Sidney Brown at 4.33 with cover ability. That's what really impressed people about him. He hits like a safety. That's the first thing that jumped out at me was that he hits like a safety. I like that. That's a rare quality in a corner, especially in today's guys. And it's a tone setter that you would have in your secondary. He has playmaking skills like Gardner Johnson. I mean, these are all the scouting reports that came out of, Nagy, who runs the Senior Bowl down in Mobile. This is his evaluation on him, not mine. I added some things into it because I went back and watched it last night. Senior Bowl in practice, no one could get by him. Which meant this, it wasn't just a Senior Bowl game. So in the practice, that I always tell you that when you go to places like LSU or Alabama and you're practicing against the best players in the country every day, not just on Saturdays. Well, him at the Mobile Senior Bowl, he was awesome. He was one of the guys that stood out. He was by far the highest graded corner at the Senior Bowl. Here's the one thing that he's going to have to work at, and especially when he gets to the National Football League. He can get knocked off his routes. But here's the thing that Nagy said to me, the executive director of the Senior Bowl. He's got such great closing speed, he can make up for mistakes. He's got a burst. Like if he gets turned around in a route, okay, he can make that up with his speed and get back to the point of attack. So he has got the intangibles, if he makes a mistake, to cover that mistake with his speed and his athleticism. So he gets knocked off routes a bit. And my problem with that would be you got knocked off of routes in the Mid-America Conference. And then it was more seen at the Senior Bowl where he did. But he was so good versus everyone else, he covered it. Well, the college kids are great. But when you got to go against when you got to go against Justin Jefferson or A.J. Brown or any of these other guys, you're not going to be afforded that because those guys are physical too. And those guys have all the tricks. So it's going to be a work in progress. It's going to be a work in progress here. He's got really great feet. He can play press, which is something they don't have in the secondary. So again, when you look at Quinyon Mitchell, did Howie make the right pick? Yeah. He made the right pick because it was a need. It was the best player in the draft. And get this, he got a football player that is being underdrafted. And all because you're trying to tell me you would take Bo Nix over Quinyon Mitchell if you were starting a football team. Really? Think about that. What I just said. Would you take Bo Nix or J.J. McCarthy if you were going to play a pickup basketball game? You would take one of those guys over him? How about starting your football team? You know how you do that in high school? Hey, let's play touch football. You're taking Bo Nix? I'm not. I mean, he's underdrafted. That's a win. Did the Eagles get better? Yet to be seen. However, at a position, it's a 64% failure rate at that position. But what he did was he didn't get the second best guy, who I like in Teron Arnold because he went to Bama and he played in the SEC. Okay? I mean, on a rookie deal, you're going to move off one of those corners. So to me, he didn't go off the reservation except for just this. I think he went off the reservation because it's Toledo. I really like the story too. He got offered, get this, at Alabama, he got offered somewhere close to $1 million in nil money. He had no nil money at Toledo. Toledo's never had a first-round draft choice in the history of the program. He's the first. Okay, he's an outlier for that program. He was pursued by LSU, Florida State, Clemson. All of them wanted to pay big money. But because he was a non-qualifier coming out of high school, in theory, had to sit at home and get his grades up so that he could play. He played a lot. He's a 4-year starter, too. Or he's a 4-year player, 3-year starter. I don't mind that. I think that's actually to his advantage, having been at a smaller school. Because why is that an advantage, being at a smaller school? You got more tape on him. What you don't want to do is draft a kid from Toledo having 1 year, and you really don't have a lot of tape. Look how that one tape thing always works out. Look at how it worked out for Mitchell Trubisky. Played 1 year. Kind of okay, I guess. So, I mean, he had 4 years of tape at Toledo. So, some of you may go, damn. I mean, now here's another issue that I have. He's not the best corner in the country. Okay? He's probably the second best corner in the country. So you didn't draft the best player at the position in the United States. That kid's at Colorado still. You always get concerned with that when he's not better than a guy who's a junior and he's playing for Deion and Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter is superior to him. It's not close. Like when you watch Travis Hunter play and you watch Quinyon Mitchell, they're not in the same room. It's not close. It's not downplaying, but when Travis Hunter goes to the combines and you look at his tape from Jackson State, and then you look at what you saw at Colorado, it's remotely not close. Hunter's spectacular. That's right. Xander's like, Travis Hunter is a generational type talent. Tough to compare. Right. But what that does is you compare everything to him. It's like being compared to Tiger and Patrick Mahomes. When you see that player, you look at him and go, yeah, but he's not that guy. Okay. And you're right. He's one of. But and is he close? No. But is he like him? Yes. 4.33. That's no shitting on him, man. And plus with the fact that he's athletic and could have played anywhere he wanted in the country. And I there's a part of me that goes, you should have challenged yourself, son. And there's another part of me that goes, his loyalty. Do you guys know what else is the biggest thing too? You know what the story is at Toledo? The head football coach is Nick Sirianni's roommate in college. Did you know that? They were roommates in college. The head football coach at Toledo and Nick Sirianni were teammates and roommates in college. So they kind of had a bunch of conversations on what was going down. Those Mount Union boys, exactly. They were roommates. So I would think that his friend, and they're close. So what are you going to get with that? You're going to get the truth from your friend. He's probably told him some of the shit and some of the mostly great, but you're going to get the skinny on the kid. This is who he is. Quality kid, character guy, love him. He embodies our program. All of that stuff is true. And then he's going to tell you, coach him hard. Don't let up on him. And you got Vic Fangio, who is notorious for coaching people hard. Okay? That's a great thing. That's probably the thing that attracted Vic Fangio the most to Quinyon Mitchell is that what's the kid say constantly? The head coach at Toledo goes, he wants to be coached so hard, and he loves it. Well, you got a coach who's a hard ass in Vic Fangio. See, Xavier Howard and Jalen Ramsey didn't like that coaching hard stuff down at Miami. But you got a kid here who wants to be coached hard. I think all football players want to be coached hard the right way. If I believe that you're coaching me and putting me in a position to succeed and you're getting on my ass, remember what I told you guys. When Coach Johnson was coaching all of us, Jerome and all of us, and he would get in our ass like you wouldn't believe. And I've told you guys this, and I've told Xander this numerous times. And I finally just said, why are you coaching me? Why are you screaming and not screaming, but why are you on my ass? Worry when I'm not, son. Because when I'm not on you, I don't care. And if I don't care, you're a non-factor here. And if you're a non-factor here, I don't need you. And if I don't need you, you won't be here. That's a come to Jesus kind of conversation. That's the kind of guy you want. Okay? That's a kind of come to Jesus conversation. It's a grade A. He was ranked number 1. William says it's a grade A. There's no grades for drafting. Grades. Are you high? You have no idea who these guys are yet. Grade A. There's no such thing as grades. You're looking at need right now for player. Okay? There's no such thing as grade. You're not getting a grade from me on Monday after the draft is completed. How can you give a guy a grade of an A when he doesn't own an Eagle helmet yet? Give me a break, guy. What you give the Eagle organization a passing grade for is that they checked the boxes. It was a need. It was the number 1 need. They drafted the best player at that position. And I think you said some of that. Okay? And I do think you said some of that. However, and he's the best prospect. And if I read that the way you wrote it now that I'm saying it, I think you said the same thing. And I'm probably just being a little too critical there. You can't give grades yet until you see the kid play. Is A.J. Brown still the problem? He'll always be a problem. You know why? He's a headache. Look, one more time with that guy. You're not winning a Super Bowl with him on the team. You're just not. Cares about money and his targets. You're winning with Devontae. Devontae is a winner. Devontae wants to be an Eagle. A.J. Brown doesn't give a shit about being a Philadelphia Eagle. Okay? Doesn't. What's Dick Train say now? Laughs at Sills. How come your players all respond to me then, Dick Train, including your front office, calling my bosses? Then how come that goes on like that? Why do your players respond to me? Your front office and your PR guy sends me shitty texts. How come that goes on like that? Dick Train? How does that come out? How does that happen? How does that happen? If your players are the ones responding to me, I happen to say something, they get a little upset, and I don't know what to do here. I'm sorry. Hey, I'm sorry A.J. Owens gets her feelings hurt. How could a guy hey, help me out here, Xander. How can she get her feelings hurt when you're making $32 million? How can she get her feelings hurt? Help me out. Help me out. Oh, look at Brandon going, I'm delusional. Well, go look at Devontae Smith's Twitter page. Over 500 responses to what I said about A.J. Owens. And there they were. They got some really weird little emoji. I have no idea what that is. Okay, so you want to call me old man, get off the lawn? I don't know what that little doll thing there is between the two of them. I mean, it looks really cute and all. So I don't really know. Then again, it's wide receiver, so God knows what it is. Okay. I don't want. Guy makes $32 million and he's crying. Well, he cried his way to his money. He got it. Okay, your takes are horrible, so they prove you are bad at your job. Proving that I'm bad at my job when your football players and your team respond to me. Thanks, Ty. Doesn't make sense. You ignore people. You don't respond to them. Kind of like you. He deserved the money. I agree. 2 years left on this deal. Wish I could go to my bosses. Hey, I got 4 years left on my contract. Hey, you think we can renegotiate for triple the money? Can I please? Because it's me, I'll blow up and I won't show up. Sills, how do you feel about the 22nd pick? We just did an evaluation, and so I'll just quickly, they checked all the boxes, man. They took a top need, and they took the best player at that position. Sills will be banned from Philly soon. He'll be off JAKIB soon. His takes are horrible. They may give me 2 more hours. Oh, man. Sills was right. He got 30 to $25 million wide receivers. You don't have 2 $25 million wide receivers right now. You're not paying Devontae till 3 years from now. $25 million. You're paying him 8 this year. You're paying him 14 next year. And then your third year, you're paying him that. Don't worry. She won't be on the team, A.J. Owens. So his contract extension is coming following A.J. Owens. Don't say that out loud because it'll make me look like, oh, I see what he did. Oh, oh, A.J. cried, so Sills cried. Okay. Sills can't hate the pick, especially when Verse got picked. 2 picks ahead. And Chop got taken the pick ahead with the Dolphins. That's who I wanted the Eagles to take, was Chop Robinson, but they took him at 21. Keep ruffling feathers. Thank you, Wayne. AJ Owens worth every penny. Right, okay. I don't ever want to go back to Jalen Reagor. Hey, Brandon, those big money wide receivers don't result in Super Bowls. Chop was not. Hey, Daz goes, Chop was surprising. Not to me. Only to you. Only to you. Not to me. He went 21. I thought he'd go 22. So I was off a pick. I thought he'd go 22. He went 21. Right? I was off a pick. Those quarterbacks threw everything off. Okay, get this. Daz goes 6 sacks in 3 years. Well, you drafted a guy and Jordan Davis had 9 sacks in 4 years. You drafted him 13th. Daz, anything? You drafted Jordan Davis, who had 9 sacks in 4 years at Georgia. 9 sacks in 4 years. You drafted him. 2 different positions. I'm talking about production, son. Seals, you think we can get Powers or Cooper? Well, look at that. By the way, I want to take a look at some of that stuff on team needs and what we saw in the draft and the direction of where the Eagles can go with some of these players that are available. And with the picks that they still have available, do I think Howie makes a pick? Do I think he makes a trade here? I think it depends. I think a lot of great football players are still left on the board. Seals, do you think Atlanta threw a curveball in the draft? That in the Denver pick. And how high Alt went, I thought really kind of threw things up a little bit. Edgerrin Cooper's still there. Just to take a look at the draft here. Here. Oh, by the way, real quick. So let me get this right. Xander, am I right when I heard this? Xavier Worthy is the fastest guy in the history of the NFL combines. And the Chiefs got him. So the Chiefs signed the fastest guy in modern combine history. The Chiefs got him. Right? Guy who ran a 4.2. The Chiefs got the fastest guy in NFL history that produced at the combines. That includes Bo Jackson. Okay. Yeah. Dirty D, I thought Bo ran a 3.9 and a 4 flat, but it wasn't with the modern technology that they have today. So I heard that too, and that is true. Okay. Wow. So they get the punter, Matt Ariza, who's a game-changing field position guy. They get the fastest guy in NFL history on the team. Jesus criminy. I thought the objective was to try to stop that team. They still continue to do great things. Brett Veach and Andy Reid got the fastest guy in combine history. Just to recap the draft, Caleb goes to the Chicago Bears. You see the Chicago Bear fans going crazy? I mean, they went crazy like this when they drafted Justin Fields. Bear fans have not had a lot to root for. I hope this kid's the guy. Do I think he is? I do not. I do not think he is. I think Jaden Daniels, of all the quarterbacks, looks to me like the guy. Washington got him. Being interesting to see what Cliff Kingsbury, the new OC, does with him. Drake May, if I'm New England, really? Drake May. Isn't that Mac Jones 2.0? Man, I don't know. That guy didn't wow me. He's built like Carson Wentz. He looks like that. I don't know. I think the team that made a great pick was Arizona. Marvin Harrison. It's a great pick. By the way, let's take a look at that too. Let's take a look at this. I had Brock Bowers as the best player in the draft. Caleb Williams goes 1. Caleb Williams on my sheet is the 13th best player. Overdrafted. Jaden Daniels. I had the 10th best player. They took him 2. Overdrafted. Washington got the best quarterback in the draft. Chicago is where quarterbacks go to die, along with the Jets too. Drake May. Drake May I have 16th. He took third, who was taken 3rd. Really? All those quarterbacks are overdrafted. Marvin Harrison, I had the 2nd best player. The Arizona Cardinals draft him at 4. Great pick. Underdrafted. It's a great pick. The chances of failure are minimal when you do this. It's what the Eagles did. Eagles underdrafted a player. They're 22. You'll see here in a minute. Joe Alt goes 5. I had, get this, look. I had Joe Alt where? 6th. He went 5. And he went to the Chargers. I had him the 6th best player. He went 5. Okay. I had him right in the right room. Malik Neighbors went number 6. Malik Neighbors, I had 3. It's a great pick by the Giants. The Giants got a player, in my opinion, that they underdrafted. He's one of the top players, and I had him 3rd on my list as the best player in the draft. J.C. Latham. I had J.C. Latham. I didn't have him ranked that high. I had him 18th. He went 7th. And he went to Tennessee. Okay? I think that's a reach. Michael Penix to Atlanta. Do I even have Michael Penix? I do. He's 29th on my list. He went 8th. Man, these quarterbacks desperate. Roma Dunza went 9th. Roma Dunza, look where I had him. Roma Dunza, I had 8. He's picked right in the right spot. That's in 10th. I don't even have J.J. McCarthy on the top 32 players on this draft. J.J. McCarthy is a bust written all over it. Alu Fashanu, the kid from Penn State, I had him 5th. He went 11th. It's a great pick for the New York Jets. They did the right thing. Joe Douglas could have took Brock Bowers. Could have took Brock Bowers, but they went right because they got a 40-year-old quarterback that you can't have 4 minutes into a football game, have your season implode. Okay? You can't. Bo Nix, he ain't in my top 32. He goes 12. Wow. Is that got bust all over it? That's Blake Bortles. That shit's Bo Nix is Blake Bortles. Good grief. Get this. The Raiders get Brock Bowers at 13. I have him the best player in the draft. That's a great pick for them. Giants going to get Shedeur Sanders now. So they invest in Daniel Jones with a wide receiver. My God almighty. What a colossal disaster that whole Daniel Jones experiment is. They can't move. You know what they're doing right now? The New York Giants are building the team for, like you said, Brandon, they're building the team for the next quarterback. They're not building that team for Daniel Jones. Talisi Fuaga, I had him as the fourth best player in the draft. He goes 14 in New Orleans. Great pick. Great pick. How many offensive tackles went? I thought there'd be 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 went. I said 10 would go. 9 went. We were one off there. Latu, UCLA, went to Indianapolis. Great pick. And at 15, right here, I had Latu down there at 12. Kind of in the same room. You know, you're kind of in that box there. Brian Murphy, 16, went to Seattle. I had Murphy where? 14. Kind of in that same room. So we're not far off in evaluation where he went. Dallas Murphy went 17 to Minnesota. I had him at 19. Kind of in the same room. What I'm showing you is my evaluations turned out to be right in the same proximity and right in the same area where people thought these guys should fall. So every guy that I said so far, I've been right around in the right room. You're never going to get the right team right because you have no idea what teams do in front of you. I personally think the Eagles would have took Chop Robinson if they didn't. If they didn't see Miami take them, I think they would have took him at 22. Amaris Mims, he went 18 to Cincinnati. Where did I have him ranked? I had Mims ranked Amaris Mims. Oh, okay. Amaris Mims, get this. When he went 18, right? To Cincinnati. I got Amaris at 17. So we're in the same ballpark again. You understand that every single guy that I evaluated has turned out to go pretty much right where I thought he would go. These quarterbacks are the things that have thrown this thing, like the Penix. The quarterback's going so high with McCarthy has skewed this thing up to where there's a ton of really good players left. Here, Jared Verse goes to the Rams at 19. I had Verse the 9th best player taken. Once again, the Rams do a great job at evaluating talent. They got a really good player there. And I think they got him at a steal. Troy Fontenot, offensive tackle, Washington, went 20. I had Fontenot. Where did I have Fontenot? 21. Right in the same room. Chop Robinson went 21 to the Dolphins. I had Chop Robinson going to the Eagles at 22. Right in the same room. Quinyon Mitchell, Eagles, at 22. This may be the best value pick in the draft. Because here's where I had him. I had Quinyon Mitchell ranked 7th as the 7th best player in the draft. So you got the 7th best player according to me. And I've been pretty right on every guy so far that's been taken last night. You got the 7th best player at 22. Your chances of failure have come down from 64% to 50-50, which is incredible for a first round and at that position at corner. Then when you get him on the field, you see what you have. And if he happens to have anything, that thing will lower down to 30% chance of failure rate. I mean, you did the right thing by taking this guy. And for a general manager who can't pick corners, he played the odds exceptionally well last night. He's had massive failure rate at corner, but he did the right thing. Best player at the position, best camp, best combine, best talent evaluation, best player at the draft at that position. It's an A with all the intangibles lowering the chance of failure rate. Now, the player's got to figure out if he matriculates his game to the next level or not. That's the big jump. Going from Toledo in Mid-America Conference to the NFC East is quite a leap. Some guys can handle it. That process sometimes is slow, fast. It takes a couple games. You understand that when you get the game tempo like that, you've never seen game tempo like the NFL. Only grade I give out is an F to the Falcons because of decision-making by the organization. They'll play 4 or 5 years. But wait a minute, Q. You just gave you just gave Cousins $180 million, 90 of it in guarantees. Michael Penix is 24 years old. He ain't sitting. You don't have a 21-year-old, 20-year-old quarterback that you could sit for 2 years. 2 years, he's almost 28 years old, 27 years old. I mean, you don't have time for that. I don't get it either. I thought they were going defense. Okay, I thought they were going defense. I don't get it. Let me finish up the draft here. Brian Thomas went to Jacksonville at 23. I had Brian Thomas ranked at 15. It's a good pick for the Jags and Trevor Lawrence. He'll need it. Teron Arnold, corner, Bama, went to Detroit. Where did I have Teron Arnold? Look at this one here. Teron Arnold, I had 11th. Teron Arnold went 24th. That's a great pick for the Lions. It's a great pick. You see what's happened here? All the teams in the lower end of the draft are getting these quality players because why? Everyone in the top end of the draft has gambled on these quarterbacks. Check it out. What's the next one? Graham Barton, 26. Graham Barton, I had him ranked 14th. Darius Robinson goes 25. Darius Robinson, right there. I had 25. He went 27. Nate Wiggins, 30. Where did I have Nate Wiggins? Nate Wiggins, I had 20. All these good teams now are getting really good football players. I think the teams that made out were the teams in the bottom of the draft in the first round last night. Not the top. How many people actually think that? Look at what Denver did. Denver took the worst quarterback of all the talent evaluators talking about the quarterback. You took the 6th best quarterback at where you took him. My God almighty. That's failure rate. That's like 80% failure rate. 80% failure rate. Okay? Seals is playing chess. He talked about his mock draft the entire time to hide his pain. What pain? I have no pain. I pretty much was right on here. No pain. Pain of what? What did I miss? You didn't? I'm not ripping the pick. It's not a bad pick. I want to chop. He got taken one pick before. Those quarterbacks are crazy. I'm in pain. Actually, I think your wide receivers are babies. You see Big Bad Sills? Not Big Bad Sills. Howie's the GOAT. Yet to be determined, son. He's a terrible drafter on defense, but he played the numbers right. Okay, so, I mean, he played the numbers right. Let's do this too. Let's do this too here. And then we'll have best player available for the Eagles that are left. Chicago needed a quarterback. They addressed it. Can't shit on them for that. They addressed the quarterback with Caleb Williams. Washington needed a quarterback. They addressed it with Jaden Daniels. New England needed a quarterback. They addressed it with Drake May. Arizona, number one need was wide receiver. They addressed it with wide receiver. Chargers, number one need was wideout. They lost Keenan Allen and they lost Mike Williams. They went OT instead, but that was the third biggest need, but they got one of the better players at it. So they went better player and best player available. So a lot of these teams did some good things here. Look at Chicago's second pick. Chicago's second pick was edge. What did they do with their second pick? They went out and they got they got another wide receiver. That I didn't understand. That I did not understand in what they did. So all in all, once again, I'm not down on the pick. I guess, again, I got some question marks where he played. He didn't play in a very good conference. Seals, with all the good players left on the board, the Eagles are set up perfectly for drafting a guard, tackle, a good linebacker. What do you say? We're going to get to that here in a second here. But as a matter of fact, let's do that now. Some of the guys here. I wrote 10 guys down that I think that the Eagles in the next day or so, if they're available, should take a look at. Great draft show last night, Sills. I think Q having Slay and getting thrown in there with AJ and Smitty is a great place to start. New DB coach wanted him. And I think also Fangio wanted him. Dave, I will also say this. That's a great take, Dave. Thanks for the super chat. Why that's a great take? Look at what Dave just said. See him throwing them in there with Smitty and AJ? So you get to line up on Smitty and AJ in practice, and you get to play against those guys at OTAs and in camp. That will make them better. It'll bring them up to game speed, because college game speed and pro game speed, night and day. When you're a college kid, you can dominate everybody. When you go from college to pro, you're not dominating anybody. It's about great players making plays, and you making one more great play than that other player who also makes great plays. I tell this to my daughter all the time. When you play against Arizona State or Stanford, she's a rugby star, and when you're playing against Virginia or some of these other really great programs, be prepared to not make a play, and they're going to make a play on you. Why? They're good too. And when you get to the NFL, they're good too. They get paid also. So you're not going to not get beat when you play against better people. My daughter goes like this, I didn't really play that well. You know why you didn't think you played well? Because the person across from you played as good too. Your objective when you play against good people is to make one more play more than them. That's it. One more play more than them. That's how you get it done. All right. Here's 10 players. 10 players that I have that are left that I think the Eagles should take a look at. This Cooper DeJean kid, would you go corner? I'm not passing on that. I had Cooper DeJean ranked where? I got him the 23rd best player in the draft. And he's going to be a second day guy. I'm scooping him up. Man. I don't have to pay him first round money. Shit, I'm not passing on that. Kool-Aid McKinstry's now in the second round. I told you he was a second round guy. As the draft process went on, I was like this. I had him 32. I had him right down there at the end, and I went, he's down there in the bottom. So I go, I tell you what, this kid, Enos Rakerstraw from Missouri, I like him. What are those guys? Look, Big Ten, Southeastern Conference, 3 corners. Get him in the second round. These guys can play. These guys are – did I have that kid ranked that high? I didn't have him as a first rounder, the kid from Missouri. But he was right outside the first round. So probably he's going to go in the right place. Okay, probably in the right place here. How about this one? So the kid that went was the fastest. Look what they do in the NFL when they put a value on speed. So Worthy from Texas goes, and he's the lesser skilled player to Adonai Mitchell. Mitchell's the better skilled player. But why didn't he go ahead of worthy? Speed. The Chiefs valued speed over technique. The Chiefs think they can teach that kid technique. You can't teach speed. You're either fast or you're not. It's just, God lift his hand on your shoulder a little bit longer than the next guy. You can't, and plus Mahomes probably wanted him. You just can't teach speed. Then I got Edrin Cooper, A&M, linebacker. I love the kid. I've loved the kid for 3 months. And I think he is a second-round pick, and I've been saying he's a second-round pick. I never thought that the Eagles would draft him in the first round. But if he's there at 53, and I'll tell you, one of those corners may be there for the Eagles to grab, and you may going to have to make a tough decision. Nick Saban wanted Mitchell to transfer, but he didn't go. And, Paul, at what's crazy about the whole thing is that they had like $800,000 or $900,000 in nil money lined up for him. Here's another guy I thought would go early. What did I have him ranked? I had Jackson Powers Johnson ranked 30th down here. I had him ranked 30th down here at the bottom here. And he's on the board. He's a center. Do you keep Juergens a guard? And do you draft him in the second round with Jeff Stoutland? Would you take Jackson Powers Johnson and maybe Edrin Cooper? And then you have Quinyon Mitchell? That looks like a lot of needs being addressed. I mean, would the Eagles draft Keon Coleman, Florida State? Keon Coleman had a high grade. I gave him a high grade. Keon Coleman. I thought he was gonna get drafted high, or at the bottom of the draft. Kamari Lassiter, Georgia cornerback. There's another kid that could be in the middle to the bottom of the second round. Peyton Wilson, NC State linebacker. I mean, the only issue with him is going to be his injury issues that he's had at college. He's had some injuries in college. And then Ladd McConkey, Georgia. Any of these players, Ladd McConkey, Georgia wideout. Peyton Wilson, NC State. Kamari Lassiter, Georgia, cornerback. Keon Coleman, Florida State, wideout. Jackson Powers Johnson, Oregon, center. Edrin Cooper, A&M, linebacker. Adonai Mitchell, Texas, wide receiver. Enos Rankerstraw, Missouri, cornerback. Kool-Aid McKinstry, Bama, corner. And Cooper DeJean, Iowa, corner. I think those are your 10 best players. Look, I think Colson, Jason, the Michigan linebacker, I think he'll be in the second, more towards the bottom of the second round. I think he'll be down in there, somewhere down in that neck of the woods. I would say this. Let's see here. Bradbury ain't playing it. It will be Mitchell, Slay, Isaiah Rodgers. Well, I wouldn't forget Gardner Johnson. I'd like to see that secondary back there. Mitchell's not going to start right away. He won't. Now, if they play a lot of preseason and he plays in the preseason, you think you're just going to throw a kid from Toledo in a starting lineup? No, the Eagles do that. The Eagles do that. McMullen thinks they will cut or trade Bradbury. Cap hit is massive. Trading Bradbury for what? And you got to remember something about Bradbury. Howie Roseman gave a contract extension to a guy the Giants cut. Just remember that. Okay? All right, guys, I appreciate it. We're getting ready to roll here, and it's been a great, great first day. No mistake about it. It's going to be great. Day 2 and 3. We will see you back. By the way, you may see us a little bit over the weekend as well, but I thought it was a good day for the Philadelphia Eagles and getting a player of need on that opening day there with Quinyon Mitchell. All right. We'll see you again probably on one day on the weekend, and we'll see you Monday 2 to 6. Have a great one, and we'll see you on the flip side.